Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I'm Gary, your host. And this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. Yeah. Well, and this time, we're going to take a look at this, which is the Web Annual #1 from Impact Comics and EarthQuest 1. But before we talk about that, show you my two books. This is Bizarre Brain Comics Anthology, which is a book with some humorous stuff and a little bit of adventure in there. And then Bizarre Brain Comics presents Heroes, which is a little more mainstream. Some superhero stuff, a little bit of horror, and some general strange stuff. They're both available online from Amazon or Barnes & Noble online store or other online outlets. $7.99 each. And to thank everyone who has got their copy so far. Now, here we go with the Web. Okay, this is the Web Annual #1 from 1992 from Impact Comics, which was an imprint of DC Comics. And they had all these annuals came out at about the same time or in successive order. And they're all part of an ongoing, one overarching storyline. Is called EarthQuest, and this is EarthQuest #1. Okay, for those who are not aware, Impact was an imprint of DC Comics, begun in 1991 through 1993. The Impact titles were revamped versions of licensed Archie Comics superhero characters: The Fly, the Comet, Shield, Jaguar, Web, and the Black Hood. And they featured a variety of changes in the characters. This was the third revival of these characters since the 1960s Mighty Comics version. Those characters were little changed for the 1980s Red Circle period, which was still published by Archie Comics. In the Web, his annual #1 was written by Len Strazewski, I think is how you pronounce his name, with pencils by Michael Collins and inks by Gary Kwapitz. And this Web is considerably different from the classic. Rather than being an individual, the Web is a super secret organization with super-powered armored suits, and they had been present or around for decades. So you can see here is the classic version of the Web as he appeared in the 60s and in the 80s. And then now, as this organization, they're all they are Web agents, and they have this some kind of high-tech armor and stuff. Now these annuals, they were square-bound. They were larger square-bound volumes, with the lead story being the character or the title characters, and then having a couple of backup stories featuring some of the other characters. In this case, they were going back in time with previous incarnations of these legacy characters. In this case, it has a backup story featuring the Shield and the Black Hood. Now, one difference, I'll tell more about the Black Hood, and I want to get to that one. But here, of course, the Black Hood was an individual. This is his classic appearance. Move it over there so you can see it better. his classic appearance in the 60s. And we revamped him a little bit in the 70s and 80s. And they gave him more of a history where that the Black Hood was being had family members were donning the hood various times through history, fighting for justice, a little like the Phantom. But here, the hood is mystical and is being passed down intentionally and unintentionally to various individuals, not necessarily all in a family line, and that takes partial control of their being, and they, while with the hood, they acquire the skills of, I guess, some of the previous owners of that hood, and are great fighters for justice. So here we go. Now, it's a little long, so I'll probably go kind of briefly. Here, these has a overarching story with EarthQuest, but it's not as obvious right at the beginning. It's kind of over. There are elements going between these stories. Here we start off with the Battle for the Grail, EarthQuest Part 1, and we see this villain who's just known as the Templar, and he is a villain. He's like super powerful. Has some kind of condition. I don't know what had happened to him, and he is large, super strong, and look, you can see his skin is kind of sagging on his body, even though he is huge, and he is the leader of this organization, and they are trying to get information from this person, and he doesn't have the info, and so he kills him, then sends him on the way, sends his own agents on his way, and this as if in a little foreshadowing, is this goblet, which looks kind of like the classic Holy Grail, is being tipped over. And what it is, he is looking for an alien device, which he calls the Grail, that was put on Earth ages ago and hidden away. Is supposed to protect the Earth against certain overall environmental devastation. If there is an imminent, large imminent environmental threat, it will activate, and he thinks it will, and to save the Earth, and he thinks it will cure him of his condition. And then we finally get to the web. Here's a bunch of young web agents being trained by this long-haired hippy-dippy old age hippie who comes up in some of the other stories, known as Sunshine. He is training them, and they're in a training session, and they're supposed to take him down, and they're powering up their suits, and they go after him, and they get him down a little bit, and they get him webbed up in their stuff, but he quickly gets out, and he is just cleaning their clocks. These young kids cleaning their clocks when their training session is suddenly halted, and the real agents come out, and they grab the experienced ones, and they grab the kids. It says, we've got there's an assault on Hangar 13, I think is what they call it, a location where various artifacts are being stored, and it's being protected by one young agent who is himself a legacy character, a legacy agent, the son of a well-known and dead agent who I think was prominent in the ongoing series. And so they hustle, get their web machines, their web vehicles, and they're rushing on the way. And so he's got to defend him until help arrives, and he's always dressed up like a cowboy. And these are the Templars agents smashing in. He's got them down, but they finally overpower him. Templar gets there, kind of beats the crap out of him, has his agents go into the warehouse, and they're looking for stuff. and they take a lot of stuff. That's what I need. And then, because some of these weapons, any of these weapons could destroy the Earth, yada, 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 or take over the Earth. And he takes a bunch of stuff and sets up one. So when the web agents get there, the young fella, he's still alive, just kind of banged up. That's when the earthquake starts. Boom, 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 boom. It was one machine has activated and they can't shut it off, or they're trying to shut it off. But it can it's causing earthquake, earth tremors, and is sympathetic, and will gradually, the longer it operates, the louder, the bigger it will come. One guy nearly sacrifices himself trying to give time for their tech person to get into it, and she finally shuts it down. And that is, but they lost they won that round, but the villain got away with all these stuff and continued in the Legend of S.H.I.E.L.D. Annual #1. Okay, fine enough. Good enough. Decent artwork. Good visual storytelling all around. They give you little hints about stuff. Of course, ideally, you would already know a lot about these characters reading the regular monthly titles. But they give you enough background. Then we go to, this is a Black Hood story. This is a fellow up here being introduced who is Tom Sickler. He is a editor of a fanzine who combs through historical records to find unknown heroes. And in this case, he's telling the story, Mad Dogs and Frenchmen. This takes place in France during one of the wars. I've forgotten which one. This is a Joan of Arc type character. This young lass has run away from home with her dog. Her dog's name is Miracle. The dog is protecting her from a wolf. Then she's being assaulted by English knights, because this is during wartime. And no, this is a French knight. And he says, "I'll get you to safety. The French soldiers are all over the places. I've got to go. I've got to find Miracle." Because he has kind of taken off, and she has just scavenged some stuff from the ruins of a castle. Among them happens to be the Black Hood. He pops the hood on her, thinking it's just a sack, so he can carry her off. But she brushes him aside, and then the English soldiers attack. And with that hood on, she is just so formidable, and she just takes care of all those English soldiers and protects the French knight. And then she has memories of the abuse of her father, etc. And then she's trying to find Miracle, her dog, again. So he has taken her. She passed out. The French knight has taken her to their camp. Again, he tries to keep her from going. She's got to find Miracle, and in the process, she winds up leading the French soldiers to victory. She is captured, though, and they're going to, just like Joan of Arc, they're going to burn her at the stake as a witch. But her dog Miracle shows up with a pack of mad dogs, and they rescue her. And here we see his thing is I remember heroes. Okay, then we have an historical story of the Shield. The Shield. And this takes place in the 1950s, and this has stuff carried through to their later stage Shield stories. And this is Shield busting into this gangster's hideout. This is offices. This is, like I said, this is in, I think they said 1953. The gangsters had kidnapped the Shield's teen sidekick, Dusty, and said, "I only brought him here. He was in no danger because I need you to help me." Turns out his son was kidnapped by someone else. He says, "Your people, your law enforcement people, you save my son. You get him out of there. And you've never been able to get anything on me legally. Here, I'll have a complete confession, all my personal crimes, etc., etc. It's yours. You save if you save my son. So Shield and Dusty get in. They know where the kid's being held, and they get in. Now the kid, Shield, who has the super armor, smashes in, distracts all the goons, while Dusty gets in, grabs the kid. Well, the kid doesn't understand. He doesn't, because he's got all these books and stuff, and he's just a real nerdy kid. He's fat, dumb, and happy right there, and he grabs the kid and takes off. Then Shield pops up to save him from the goons. They wind up, after some fighting and being trapped at once. The kid actually helps them get out of there, and Shield takes the kid home, and the guy walks off voluntarily with the police. Now the kid, his name is Matthew. He is so angry at this, and he realizes that the reason that they could never get the goods, find all the paperwork and the books and stuff that could put this guy away, is because this kid has photographic memory, and all his ledgers and everything that is inside the kid's head. But now the kid is so angry, I'll get you. And that's because he shows up later as a villain. Okay, so that's what I've got to share with you this time for the Impact. This is because, I really like the Archie characters, Archie superhero characters. I've talked about them a few times before, and from the 60s. This time I've skipped all the way up to the 90s. I'll be going through all of these EarthQuest annuals, because these were the only annuals that any of these titles had from through the Impact line. So that's just some background and some fun, interesting. So the whole thing is interesting. You see the mesh of all these characters in a forming new universe of characters. So that's all. Thank you for joining me. Please like, share, and subscribe. Do leave your comments down below. Did you like the Impact? Which characters in the Impact did you like best? And what did you think of the web? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, comics are art.